Recently, Lecrae has put a video on the vision I had after Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's dark. So that's what he says. So I want to react to that and I want to see what he has seen. Actually, I have never seen this video actually. So this is the first time I'm watching. So make sure that you type your comments and your opinions on this stuff. All right, let's watch this.
So I did a little digging and little researching, and I realized that, man, he was a polarizing figure.
So he was talking about the Charlie Kirk, okay?
You know, people loved and endeared him and saw him as, you know, a saint and a champion of their views, and people hated and reviled him and saw him as a very divisive individual. And so I did not give a statement, right? Because I just saw that. Now, here's what you don't know. Here's what you do not know. I've only shared this with a couple people, actually. The day I found out about his murder, I was one of the unfortunate people who saw the video popped up.
I think, bro, all people have seen that, right? I think, like, all people have seen that, I guess.
As I was researching, I went to bed that night, and I believe I was in Zimbabwe at the time. We left Zimbabwe, got into South Africa. I went to bed that night, and in the middle of the night, I woke up with severe stomach cramp. And I thought to myself, oh, shoot, I might have gotten some kind of, you know, foodborne virus, or who knows what happened. And so I'm like, man, as I wake up, and I'm hesitant to say this because this is not like, I'm not that type of person. As I wake up, I had a vision. I'm awake. It's not a dream. It's literally like my mind is overtaken by a vision.
So it's called open vision, right? Yes.
It was,
which means like you are awake and you're seeing a vision, like with your eyes.
Like the room turned purple, and the room turns purple, and I see Charlie Kirk being assassinated, blood, you know, coming out of his body. And I heard what to me was the voice of demons laughing.
That's true.
And, you know, it was like in an instant, and then it was like the curtain closed, and then the room went back to regular color, and it freaked me out. I'm not saying that because I had the dream that, you know, Charlie was a martyr. I'm not saying that because I had the dream that, you know, I have the full understanding of it all. I just know I had a crazy, not dream, vision, because I was awake. I've never had this experience in my life. What I believe it was an acknowledgement that this is not just a physical fight, that there's spiritual warfare going on. And it was like God opened up the curtains for me to see behind the scenes. As the scripture says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and darkness. And it was like God opened up the curtains for me to see behind the scenes, like, oh, there's a spiritual battle happening back here. Now, I don't have an interpretation of what that means. I don't have an interpretation of exactly like why I had the dream or what God wanted me to get from it, other than to realize this was spiritual. Freaked me out because I come from a pretty theologically conservative background, and that type of stuff just doesn't happen. But this also is happening the day after I'm talking to a very conservative pastor in Africa who's telling me that the supernatural occurrences in this continent are just more frequent because people are used to it, because people are not objective, because we're not, you know, it's a norm. People use witch doctors and see, you know, practice sacraments, and there's lots of syncretism that happens. And so it happened to me while I was there. And I was open to it because I'd had this conversation with this man. So the next day I did post a video and I said, hey, I have to process this. There's smarter people about the subject of Charlie Kirk than me. I don't understand what he meant to the culture. I don't understand why he was killed. I don't understand the spiritual implications of what's happening. So I got to process. And as I've processed, some things are clear, some things are not. I'll tell you what's clear. What's clear is that we're dead in the middle of a culture war. And the enemy is having a field day. Left versus right, red versus blue, progressives versus conservatives. And oftentimes Christians are told to pick a side in the midst of this. Or they're told that there's only one side in the midst of this. And if you're not on that side, you may not even really be a Christian.
My bad.
I think this is problematic in a lot of ways. And I think that we haven't really wrestled with this in a healthy way. And the enemy wins. This idea of culture war came from a book that came out in like 91, talking about, Nietzsche's views on, resentment and tension. And in this book, there's mention that people will be so diametrically opposed to each other's views that violence would ensue. Like people will think that I so much disagree with you that violence would ensue. And that's one of the things that I believe it's back to Cain and Abel. It's that I'm so upset at what's happening here that my only result is to eliminate you. And now I think there's real dangers of us being so frustrated at each other that we take each other's lives, which is satanic and demonic.
That's true. So I want to say that what has happened to Charlie Kirk was not the perfect will of God. Not at all. I hope, all right, I believe personally, you can believe whatever you want. I believe personally, God has showed him what is going to happen a few days before or a few weeks before, and he knew that is going to happen. And I know that why demons are mocking right now, because they know it. You know why? I told you in a before video that why he was get like this kind of situation, why he fall into this kind of situation is because he was not spiritually ready for this thing. I'm telling you. So there is a time that you will be approved from Zion, approved from heaven, approved from God for the thing that is going to come. But I don't think personally, I don't believe 100% that Charlie Kirk's assassination was the will of God, which means the perfect will of God. I don't think so. I think he lacks spirituality. He was not matured enough to understand what was going to happen to him. He was spiritually perfectly understood it, then he would be reversing, or he was not going to Utah. I'm telling you. People would say many things, but I don't care. I don't think anything. I just want to present this to you, that what this Lecrae, what you saw was good, but brother, I want to say that what you saw is the truth. That's what is happening in the realms. So why Christians, so-called Jesus believing, tongue talking, those who say I love Jesus are not spiritually matured is because they are not getting used to spirituality. Other witches and wizards and occults know the stuff more than Christians, yet The thing about the spirituality should be come from the Christians to the world, not from world to Christians. Nowadays, people have been corrupted. Some people are in theological things. They have been corrupted in that box. Some people have been corrupted in the box of religion. Some people have corrupted in the box of their opinion, own opinion. Some people have corrupted in the box of pleasing other people. They are not get used to the spirituality. So because of that, they are trapped. And because of that, they cannot understand what is going to happen. You understand that? So that's what it is. What you saw was it true? So demons were mocking. Yes, that's true. Devils were mocking because he didn't understand the spirituality and he knew it. His wife, Erica Kirk, and Charlie Kirk knew what was going to happen. There was a setup, there was a stuff that was set for him on that day of 10th of September 2025. He knew it. They knew it. And they did not take any steps further to remove that timeline in the realm of the spirit. They didn't know that, how to do that. You get what I'm trying to say? So because of that, they got him. They got him. That's it. So what I say to you, all of you guys, what we can learn is, please make sure that you understand the spirituality and that you thrive, because your father is a spirit. According to the Bible, God is a spirit. So it takes a spirit to understand a spirit. It takes a spirit to look at a spirit. Yes, the Bible helps us. I don't deny Bible scriptural basis or by biblical doctrinal things and theological things. I don't disagree with it. What I'm saying is, we have to understand the Bible. We have to understand the spirituality as much as we read the Bible, as much as we pray. This is a spirituality. This is a battle that is in the spirit. How can you battle unseen creatures without knowing a spiritual realm? That is a problem, bro. There's a problem. So what I'm saying is, I'm very sad to see that Christians nowadays, 2025, in this century, they are so dull, they're so dumb, and they're so blind for the spiritual realm. But they're so open to the natural realm. In their style, the way they dress, the way they talk, the way they look, the way they hear things, the way they, act. They're so perfect in the natural, but they're not perfect in the realm of the spirit. That's why Paul said in Colossians chapter 3, set your mind on the things above, where Christ is. And we do not look at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. So what are those? The things that Paul said, that things which are not seen. What are the things that Paul looked or was seeing at that time that we cannot see? You got to research. A thing to think. And something that I'm gave you right now is something to think. So that's all. I appreciate Lecrae. Is that Lecrae? So I appreciate what you saw, and thank you for sharing that. And that's the truth, because what God is wanting you and God is showing you that what has happened in the behind the scenes. So Charlie Kirk know who was in this, who helped this, and who was behind this, who was the shooter or the stuff, and who did this, who was behind, what is the group, who are the people. He know already now. See you in the next video, guys.